Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. We are delighted to have one of our partners, Cavallo, joining us. Matt and Alex will be presenting on Rethink Business Central, faster, higher ROI Business Central deployments. And as a reminder, we are recording this webinar, and we will post it to our on-demand webinar library for you to review again or share with anyone. And you can find our library under our resources tab on our website, and that's Innovia.com. We encourage you to ask questions during our presentation, so please feel free to type them into the questions box, and we will get them addressed at the end of our session. So now I'm going to turn it over to Matt to kick off our presentation.
Thank you, Angie. My name is Matt Abbott. I am the Chief Strategy Officer here at Cavallo, and it is our pleasure and honor to be here today to share some of the exciting things that we're doing in the Business Central ecosystem. And it's a pleasure to be here today with Alex Schellhaus, our Senior Product Manager. I will give a bit of an introduction to Cavallo, tell you a little bit about our history, and then introduce our products for Business Central. And then Alex will give us a bit of a deep dive and demonstrate those products for you before I close off with some parting thoughts and pricing and things of that nature. In terms of our history, we've actually been in the dynamics space for almost 20 years now and started as a company named SalesPad. We were founded by a distributor who had invested in Dynamics GP and knew that there were great opportunities to improve the efficiency and profitability of his distribution business. As such, over time, built more and more features to make Dynamics products more efficient for distributors, light manufacturers, product-oriented companies, and we've expanded significantly over the past 19, 20 years and have served over 1,000 companies, over 20,000 users, and we have extremely high retention and customer satisfaction rates. And we have a laser focus on value, given that our founder was a gentleman looking to improve the profitability and financial performance of his business. And so as we serve our next customer and our next customer, we are extremely focused on ensuring that not only can companies confidently use our software, but we're making those businesses stronger each and every day. And if you look in the background of this slide, I won't belabor the details, but you'll see that over the years we have served a number of companies across verticals. So we serve a number of companies in food, agriculture, consumer products, a mix of sort of wholesale all the way to now B2B type companies, and helping them really expand into omni-channel, EDI, et cetera. So really a range of types of customers and business models that we've helped serve over time. In terms of how we talk about our capabilities and best describe what we do to customers, we start with, of course, the great Dynamics ERPs, whether that's Dynamics GP, where we've come from, or Business Central, where we are now certainly present as well. Building upon that foundational layer of data and process that we then help amplify and extend. First of all, by accelerating the day-to-day work of customer service reps, sales reps, by providing very user-friendly productivity tools, entering orders, managing customers, ensuring that every single person that uses our software is extremely efficient. Automating, so providing tremendous workflow capabilities that help move orders wherever they came from through a business very, very quickly with a tremendous amount of control and rigor, while also allowing customers to scale their business, add and expand gross margin to make sure that companies are becoming more profitable through things like gross margin checks as orders move through a business. And then analyze, ensuring that we are bringing forth a very data-driven orientation to decision-making so that businesses have real-time access to data, can see where perhaps they have opportunities to make more money, see bottlenecks starting to form before they become problems. And because we understand the full stack, allowing users to make decisions very, very rapidly. Our analysis capabilities are quite different from a traditional reporting type ISV in that, we're not looking at data end of month, 10 months after or 10 days after the close. We're looking at data in real time and tying it to the actions that can help mitigate any of the issues that the data brings forth. In terms of our modules, specifically here for Business Central, we have a very robust CRM set of capabilities that provide customer management, order entry, things of that nature to really make sure that sales reps and customer service reps are tremendously productive. Our order management system that really embodies the workflow, business rules, routings that help both add profitability as well as scalability to businesses using Business Central. And then our process performance analytics, really looking at orders moving through the business. And we will expand our analytics capabilities very, very rapidly. We won't show it today, but very soon expanding into customer analytics, product analytics, things of that nature. In terms of our approach, I mentioned that we have nearly 20 years now of making companies much more profitable and much more efficient in the dynamic space. That said, admittedly, we're new to the Business Central ecosystem, and we're very focused on some of the pain points and opportunities to really extend and make Business Central stronger for true middle market businesses. Our application is unique relative to other ISVs in that we actually have developed a standalone but integrated with real-time data transfer to Business Central, a standalone app that allows us to develop, and you'll see this very soon, our very sort of consumer-grade user interface that is extremely easy to use and allows for very complex businesses to continue to use Business Central and leverage the great platform that Business Central provides, but also allowing the sort of flexibility and usability that's necessary for very complicated orders. A lot of mid-market businesses are looking at orders 10, 20, 30, maybe even more lines. And in order to enable that with tremendous efficiency, we've developed our own user interface that Alex will share with you very shortly. Finally, I want to note that one of the exciting aspects of the Business Central ecosystem right now is the tremendous growth. That said, there's a bottleneck in the market, and we are providing an ability to allow our great partners like Innovia and customers the opportunity to buy capabilities rather than build them. And we've been doing this for nearly 20 years, and so by providing out-of-the-box tools that can be implemented very quickly, this allows everyone to enjoy faster deployments that help radically improve the time to value for end customers, and therefore that high ROI orientation that's so key to our DNA as an ISV. And so with that, I now want to turn it over to Alex, and he is going to share the products, starting with our OMS, or order management system.
There we go. And can you see mission control map?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Excellent. So just to kind of start off, as Matt mentioned, we're going to start with our OMS product. And the first place that users and organizations land within our OMS products is this mission control page. And really, this is the kind of the home of your process, so that everybody within the organization can have equal visibility regardless of their role. So when we think about sales reps, and they're often putting in documents, but they lose visibility into it after the fact. Things like, all right, I put the document in and my fulfillment team takes it from there. And so when then they get questions from their customers, they're always kind of starving for information. They have got to contact the fulfillment team, they've got to contact the operations team, and that really results in kind of a lot of challenges in making sure that the operations go smoothly throughout their process. And so really the goal of this page, Mission Control, is to allow everybody within the organization to have all of that information. And so really this is the rendering of whatever process it is that you have set up. And so you can see I've got a bunch of documents in new order, and then I've got a reserve inventory spot, and then I've got some of my documents end up going into priority picking, and then ready to pick and so on. But just imagine this is your specific process. A lot of our customers set it up in a way that are, what are the situations that, or what are the stopping points within your process? And you can see that imagining here. Do you need to go get contracts from a customer? Okay, you could create a need contracts queue, or do you know that you need to go check for, send the customer a credit application to make sure that they can be working on terms? Okay, you could add that process right here. And so really this ultimately just helps visualize that process for whatever it is that's on the back end. As we were talking to more and more customers, kind of as we were building this page, we also heard that the managers, the leaders, the sales reps were going to be out and about quite a bit. And that meant being able to use their phones. And so we actually built this to work on mobile as well. So if you're kind of out and about needing to check order status, if you have any questions about any of that information, you can just come right here and view all of the documents in the same kind of way. You could view the documents in my new order queue, and then you could do things right here from just actually open the document, submit it to the workflow, or move it to the appropriate spot. But we knew that a lot of the experience or a lot of the things that sales reps and customer service teams were doing required that they have some sort of a mobile experience. So we built Mission Control around that to help provide that visibility, not only at their desk, but elsewhere as well, so that they didn't ever have to go searching for answers when it was really right at their fingertips. And so this tool, Mission Control, really kind of allows you to push documents forward, create that visibility, but you can also do things like email reports from here as well. So if you want to email a sales confirmation, you can go ahead and do that right here. If you want to print it, you can do that. If you want to open up the document in Business Central for whatever reason, you can do that as well here. And that's going to be a recurring theme throughout these products. Is it works seamlessly with Business Central. So all of the data is perfectly synchronized. There's actually not really any synchronization process. It actually always lives in there. So if your sales reps, your operations people are living out in our CRM and OMS module, they're looking at the exact same information that your accountants are looking at right in Business Central. So if you have somebody needing to do something over there from an accounting standpoint, they can absolutely do that, and you're all going to be looking at the exact same information. So this is all powered off of our no-code workflow engine. And really, when we were kind of building this and designing this entire experience, we had kind of the goal of allowing business users to be in here so that they could iteratively improve their process. We've talked to a lot of customers that are on various ERP systems, GP, Business Central, and other tools as well. And one of the things that we noticed is that they would have the exact same process for the better part of a decade. And oftentimes the reason for that was because business leaders within the organization didn't have the tools that they needed in order to iteratively improve. If they noticed some issue, they contacted somebody, they got in touch with them, but how do you actually prevent that thing from happening ever again? If you're leaking margin in certain situations when you don't want to leak margin, what do you do with that? This gives you those tools to say, okay, let's never let that happen again. Let's actually put those controls in place. And again, the great thing is business users can do that because it's going to be defined in really human and accessible language. So to kind of illustrate that, what you can do here is open up business rules. And this is really kind of our concept of defining, all right, what are the rules that my business wants to have in place? I've got 3 kind of stock rules built out here: margin check, delivery date approval, and then discount. Just as a general rule, I never want any documents to go out the door where margin is less than 20%. I know I don't want to let that go through. Let's just make that never ever happen again. And so you can just really define a simple rule, right? So if we could name it whatever we want, define it, and then say, hey, what conditions actually trigger this business rule? And you can look here and you can just, as a user, read this and say, a field from the order, the total, is more than a fixed value. $1,000. And so it's really just written out in really human language. So, and then margin percent is less than a fixed value, 20%. And what this allows us to do then is just say any document that's over $1,000 with less than 20% margin gets blocked immediately, so that the system doesn't allow your sales team, your customer service team to move that document through. But what you could also do is add more and more and more conditions. So maybe you want to create exceptions to this, right? So if you've got a really important customer, you could do that. You could stack these conditions any number of ways. So if a field from the order, you could do anything like this. So maybe sales reps, certain salespeople are allowed to give away margin. Other sales reps are not allowed to give away margin. Or if you had it like a sales manager is allowed to give 20% margin, or like a 5% discount, but the sales rep is only allowed to give a 2% discount. You could define all of those rules here, and then that helps control your business so that you're not giving away margin when you shouldn't be. And then there's a few things that we do here. It was just define who has permission to approve it, right? So within a typical business, there's always exceptions. There's always, all right, how do I account for all of these different exceptions within my process? That's one of the reasons we built in approvals, so that you could say, okay, this time it's okay. Let's go ahead and let that happen this time around, but next time it's not going to be acceptable. So you can see here that Alex Shellhash just has permission, but I could add other people to this list as well to say, okay, multiple people now have the ability to approve the violation of this business rule. And similarly, hey, I know that we can't get product out sooner than, earlier than 3 days. So if the requested delivery date is in the next X days, and it, let's just define that here, and let's not let that go through my process anymore. But this time, I don't actually have the ability to approve that process. And so you can start to stack these conditions together and build really, really complex rules that are specifically curated to meet your business's needs. I'm going to go ahead and leave without saving, but you can start from scratch here. But we have the business rules. That's one kind of concept here. The other concept are these queues and the routing that Matt mentioned earlier, is making sure that you can define that process for your business. We take a new order in, what actually needs to happen to that order? It depends on lots of other scenarios, right? So is the customer in good standing? Do we have the inventory in stock? Do we think we can get it out in time? Is it a really important order that we want to triage and put into my priority picking process? There's a million and one ways to actually define this process, but here's a little bit of an example of what that is. And again, this is just, you could simply drag and drop, move your steps and move your process around. But when you start this process, Cavallo helps you with this, as we get started. But at the same time, end users have the full reins here to be able to adjust this as necessary. So I could say, okay, if it's a new order, is there anything that should happen? Should I allocate the inventory? Should I send an email confirmation to my customer? What should I actually do with this document? And then you kind of define the routing. So in certain situations, let's go ahead and drop ship, right? So I know that this order has product on it that I'm not going to be able to fulfill. I'm drop shipping that, or I use a 3PL. Let's move it to the appropriate spot if it's being drop shipped. So in this case, if the warehouse, a field from the order, is my East warehouse, maybe that's my 3PL, let's move it to the drop shipping queue. It doesn't need to go through my normal fulfillment process. You could define that right here. We could reserve the inventory as an action, or maybe we do rush picking. I've communicated with my sales team hypothetically to say, okay, if you put rush within the customer PO number, that's going to automatically move it to my priority picking queue, and I'm good to go from there. And then you can start to stack actions on top of that. So maybe you have custom reports that you want to send, say, hey, we moved your order, it's a rush order. You can actually create a custom report in Business Central. We don't have one set up for that, but you could set up a custom report in Business Central that sends out a rush confirmation to your customer. and then they get your customers get the warm and fuzzies to know that their order is rushed, and then it also is expedited throughout your own process, resulting in a faster cycle time and a better customer experience with all kind of these workflow engines. And you don't have to do anything after you initially set it up. It's just that initial configuration, and you're good to go. So we could send out a sales confirmation. Maybe I want to have the reply to be the sales rep, and then we could send it to the manager on the account, whatever that is. And then that allows you just to then automatically send these emails out based on these transitions throughout the process. We'll just go ahead and delete that for the time being, but this is a little bit kind of the back end engine of workflow. One of the cool things about this as well is that it works as a standalone product. So if you want to use this OMS product, you can do that, and it's going to be really powerful by creating that process right in Business Central, helping to protect your business from all kind of the erroneous things that might happen. Without any of the overall change management process, your teams can still operate the exact same way they've been operating, and it's super fast time to value, and there's not a whole lot to change on top of it. It's just defining the workflow, and then your teams continue to work the way they've been working. Now, in certain situations, though, we think we've got a really powerful CRM package that complements our order management system really, really well. And so we're going to showcase that a little bit now. And so as we go into that, if you have our CRM package as well, you'll be able to see customers, documents, products on top of that, which allow you then to get at the important information that you need to in order to, best serve your customers. So to kind of get started, we can go into the products tab. I can happen to open up, one of my products, and I can immediately see what orders are associated with this product. So I can say, okay, if somebody's, maybe my warehouse person has a question about, hey, how many orders do we have associated with this product? What are the status, right? And I can immediately see that there's some quotes associated to it. There's a number of orders associated with it, and a few of them are even in shipping, which hopefully the warehouse team is available or understands that already. I can see my inventory, kind of the quantity on hand, quantity reserved, quantity available, and kind of the quantity allocated that's actually on the sales orders. So you can see immediately what's happening with this product. Really just the goal there is aggregating information for users so that they can answer questions for their customers faster. So this is the customer search experience where you can see, this would be your full customer list. You could see exactly what's happening at them, their balance, the number of open orders that they have, and then you could ultimately dive into a specific customer, and then you get kind of that same view, or that holistic view of like, okay, these are the documents that this customer has. I can immediately understand, what documents they have open. So you can imagine if I get a call from a datum here, and they're asking about order 101012, I can see that's in my reserve inventory queue, or I can see that there's a document in the ready to pick queue, and so you can communicate that effectively then to your customers. So it really helps organizations understand their customers more deeply. It helps you understand kind of their buying patterns, and then it helps you offer a great customer experience as a result of having all this information really kind of at your fingertips. So we also have kind of this products tab, which highlights some of this information for the customer as well. So you can see, okay, I can see at the bottom here that they used to purchase guest section chairs. They haven't purchased it in over a year, and they used to buy this all the time. Maybe that's a call to action to your sales team to drive sales right from this list. So you can say, hey, next time I'm communicating with the customer, I know that they haven't purchased one of these in a while. Maybe I should communicate that, see if they've gone to a different vendor, and then help drive action within my team. And so this is a little bit of the customer card. There's lots of things, from all documents. You can add contacts, you can add addresses, you can view their payments history. So if we have specific wallets associated with the customer, you can manage that here as well. So if I go back to my customer screen and go into tray research here, same basic thing, right, where I'm allowed to communicate. I understand exactly what's happening. And so to get to kind of the order entry process here, what we've done is create a really simple and easy to use order entry screen. A lot of our customers are get really large purchase orders from their customers, right? So if you can imagine in the B2B space in particular, if you get a large order from one of your customers, they say, hey, I want this product and this product, and then they do that times 60. That order entry experience becomes really challenging, and it's error prone as a result, resulting in poor customer experience. You're shipping product when you don't need to ship product, and so we wanted to make this really, really simple and easy to use. And so you could sometimes this header information is really helpful. You can adjust this information, you can adapt it to meet your specific needs. But once you have kind of the header information, defined, you really want more real estate for that order entry experience so that you make less errors. So that as you're working on this document, I know when there are things, I have more screen real estate to work with. And then if you want to actually view it again, you can do that. And one of the other things that's really important on this screen is this activity tab. And this is really a tool that allows customer service teams, sales reps to tell the exact story about what's happening on this document. So if it gets into a certain state, if it gets into a situation where somebody doesn't know how it got there, we recommend that you just view the activity log, and then you can immediately see, okay, Alex Shellhaus created this order at 11:27 a.m. on June 9th. And then if I wanted to define an East warehouse, I can say, hey, Alex Shellhaus set the location code to my East warehouse. Oh, now we want to adjust it to the main warehouse. And so what this allows you to do is really get at those micro changes that can put documents quite often in a catastrophic space, and then allowing you to fully understand how documents got into that certain situation. This has been super, super powerful for a lot of our customers. As business is complex, and being able to get at this information is really, really hard otherwise. And so, as we mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and put in a little bit of an order here. There's a few different ways that you could do that. You can enter in an order by seeing here and just seeing what they've purchased recently. I can go ahead and actually add a document here or add a product. I can see the London swivel chair. I can configure this document. I can delete it, and I can get at exactly what it is that I want to add. If I want to, if it's a really bit more of a complex document, what I can also do is say, I can actually, a lot of our customers have 60,000 different products, right, or more. We're searching and making sure you're getting exactly the right type of product within their system is really, really important. You could have 50 different variations of this one mouse. Okay, how do you get at that information? We have a really seamless search experience as a result that allows you to get at exactly the right information. And then if it's a really big order, you can add and add and add and search and query, and then I'll add all of those products at the exact same time. And this is really kind of where the ecosystem effect of our products really shines when we start to have both the order management system and the CRM package tied together. And I think I showed you some of the business rules that we have, but I can see here that all right, we've got this London swivel chair. It's coming from my warehouse. I don't have any allocated yet. I could allocate right here, and then I can immediately see, okay, how much is back ordered, how much is on hand, and I can allocate it if I want. You can see how much is shipped, but then you can change the discount, right? Let's say, hey, I want to hook this customer up and give them a really big discount, but my manager has set up business rules that prevent me from doing that. And so I can see here, I violated this one business rule, check discount, line discounts cannot be greater than 5%. Let's just course correct. I don't want to submit that to my manager. Alternatively, if I think I have a really good reason to submit this with the excess discount, I can still submit that, right? And leave a reason code as to why I think this is acceptable. So I'm just going to say they promised to buy more next time. So maybe I'm using this as a tool to generate future sales. We can actually do that and we can go ahead and submit it to the approval process, the document broker rule. I'm fine with that for the time being, right? And so this allows us to see exactly how this document is, now it's locked. I can see it's violated my check discount rule. And you can also see this information right in mission control. So I can go back to my, one of these orders, and then I can actually, approve or reject it from here. This is one of the documents. If we go to trade research, we can actually approve or reject it right from here as well. And if I need more details, if I'm not comfortable with doing that, you can go back into the order and I can say, hey, Alex Shellhouse says they promised to buy more next time. And then if I really want to, I could say nope and reject it. And this is actually going to send it back to the sales rep. Sorry, we're not going to give away that type of margin. That's too much margin to give away from, right? And that's going to notify the sales rep that they have things to do. They need to go communicate back to the customer. So be it at this point. And so that's a little bit of a taste of our CRM package, and ultimately what that offers. So the next product that we have also really complements these products really, really well. And so this is our analytics package, and what we're looking at here is the trend monitor. And when I think about our analytics package, what I often think about is, it's this specific product within our analytics product family is our process performance module, which allows organizations to evaluate their business at various levels. So when we think about the trend monitor, I think about this as kind of the 1,000 or 10,000 foot view of the business, starting to understand kind of the overall trends of my business. Are things looking good? Is margin relatively flat year over year, or is margin relatively flat from weekly to monthly to quarterly to yearly? I certainly would hope it would be flat or trending up. If it's trending down, that's probably a call to action to your team to set up better business rules within our OMS package, right? So, okay, we're having some margin leakage here. Let's look to control that within our system. This helps surface that information in really tangible and financial aspects. So I could see, hey, margin shipped dollars is a little bit trending down. Let's go and evaluate that. My placed orders are trending up. Things are looking really good. So placed orders are trending up. Margin is trending down. I'm not making as much money off of all of those new orders as I would hope to make. You can evaluate that this here. And so this gives you that holistic view, kind of starting to dissect the way that your organization does business. And then it gives you kind of a little bit of a sneak peek into kind of those trends of what's happening into your business. The next part of this is really the real-time dashboard. And when we think about the way that organizations work, there's often quite challenges, right? If we've got these processes, these things that need to happen in order for documents to get out the door. And so on the left-hand side, we can see that this is kind of all those queues, all of the processes that are happening. And so I can see there's a new order process and a manager review process and a procurement process. And what this is really doing is helping surface slow but really important documents. And so in my new order queue, I can tell that there's this document, this really big yellow one, which highlights in my mind that there's a really big order that needs my attention. It needs my attention because it's been in that queue for a really long time. There's a lot of margin just sitting there, not capturing revenue when I would hope it would capture revenue. Same thing for manager review, right? Manager review are those documents that require, kind of approval or exception. I can see here that one of my managers has been sitting on this red document for a really long time. That should be a call to action to the business leader to dive into there and figure out why that document is standing there. If it is standing there for a valid reason, what additional controls should I be putting into my process to make sure that I can improve and make sure that documents don't sit there longer? Should I be alerting the manager more often? Maybe I could send the manager alerts or send the manager automated actions or assign them a task or something like that. And you can do those things with our product. And this is really just kind of helping surface that information, helping you understand more deeply the nuances of your process. On the right-hand side, we've just got some of those really critical KPIs: today's shipped orders, today's margin, average order size. If there's any large variance in these items, maybe that's something that you should evaluate. We're calling this a real-time dashboard, but we also call it the now dashboard a lot of times, where this is really helping you understand the state of your business now. If we mentioned that the trend monitor was kind of that 1,000 or 10,000 foot view of your business, this is really a tactical approach of evaluating what's happening in your business right now. What's the state of your business? Is there something that you should be solving? This helps you answer that question. This is a tool that you can use to say, okay, I'm having an issue in my procurement queue. As a really tangible example, but quite tactical, like one of our customers had a printer that was down. They had a ready-to-print queue. Things slowly started to back up in their ready-to-print queue. Everything turned red. The leader in the organization realized those were all turning red because they were above the average, and they just simply dispatched an IT worker to go fix the printer. Not a super complex problem, but something that would have lingered much longer than necessary. This is a tool that allows you to do that with really just coming here and kind of analyzing your process. And we can take it one step further, right, to start to analyze kind of those queues in detail to see, all right, how is this queue performing? What should I be doing with this information? And so you can filter and dissect this queue so you can get at really the right information. We had one customer that was using this as a tool to, they had like over 2,000 documents in their procurement queue. They were using this as a tool to help triage and evaluate some of the most important documents within that queue so that they could fulfill the orders that would add the most margin, add the most value to their organization. And so it really allows you to kind of surface that information. If you've got a really important customer, let's get at that important customer to make sure that we move that forward and fulfill it as soon as possible. You can surface all of that information in a really kind of visual and human way right here. And as we were building this application, one of the things that we recognize is, hey, I've got to actually remember to come to the real-time dashboard, right? And it's great if you come here. It's great if you are able to view it. But we wanted to turn it into a tool that could ultimately proactively tell you when there are issues within your system. And so we really decided to build alerts on top of that. And that brings us to kind of the alert page, right, where we can define and build out alerts based on any number of parameters that I wish to define. And so we've got a few different types: order alerts, queue alerts, and I can define a new order alert. And in certain situations, I can say, hey, if the order total, is greater than, call it $1,000, and the time in queue, is for my review queue is greater than 4 hours, let's go ahead and send an email to somebody. And what this does then is allow organizations and users to proactively understand what's going wrong with their process, but also improve their process. So we recommend, frankly, that if you're running Analytics Cloud for a little while and you start to understand your queue averages, hey, I know that it typically spends 3 hours in my procurement queue. I would recommend that you set up an alert to say anytime that a document has been in there for 3.5 hours or 4 hours, send a notification. That way it can also be kind of a continuous improvement type tool to help you, continually say, all right, let's improve our process. Let's evaluate what's going wrong. And you can curate these messages however you want, and then stack these rules together to allow you to really kind of define alerts in a very curated and specific way. You could even do it for a customer, right? So if we've got a customer, maybe we've got a really important customer. I know the document has to get out the door. Otherwise, they're going to go find a different vendor. This is a tool that you could use to say, hey, if my customer, maybe it's Walmart or Amazon or some really large customer that you want to make sure you're serving really, really well, you could define rules in here that proactively alert you when there's potential bottlenecks with that important customer. And so that's our analytics package. This is available for anybody that's would like to use it, and that's also using our OMS package. this is also just kind of where we're starting. Super excited about, where we're heading for the future of this package as well. But with that, that's kind of the demo coverage. I'll hand it back to Matt.
Thank you, Alex. Great job. Are you able to take control of the screen?
There we go. I think you're the
Excellent.
presenter now, Matt.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I will share my screen again. You see the presentation?
Good to go.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Alex. Just a quick reminder in terms of the modules that we have brought to market for Business Central. Again, CRM, the order management system, and process performance analytics. To give you a sense of our pricing levels and why it makes so much sense to buy versus build, the CRM offerings that Alex shared with you priced at $480 per user per year. The OMS, that really strong workflow engine, at $4,800 a year, and the process performance analytics also at $4,800 a year. And also, given just how confident we are that really any customer, any company running Business Central, whether you use our other products or not, given the dramatic improvement that we bring to workflow and order management relative to what Business Central provides out of the box, we are more than happy to offer a pretty significant free trial here to make sure that you folks have the opportunity to test it in your environment. Finally, just wanted to say thank you and encourage you to visit cavallo.com. You can use this QR code here to quickly get to our Business Central specific products. And with that, we are certainly open to any questions that folks might have. Joe, anyone submitted questions via the question submission process?
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, we actually have a couple questions here. The first one is, what are the primary benefits of choosing Cavallo products over the alternatives?
Great, thank you. So certainly here we are a strong complement to Business Central, and given that we have almost 20 years of experience helping very complex businesses, develop workflows that suit their business, build order entry screens that suit your business, we help companies adopt Business Central at scale very quickly, and so we help companies really avoid quite a bit of the custom development that may have historically been required to allow them to use Business Central for very complex needs. So it's really that strong buy versus build option that we bring to the table in a unique way. And also the analytics capabilities that are available very, very quickly with our strong integration with Business Central. You get there fast. You're really able to learn about your business, make better decisions in days, maybe weeks, but quite often days rather than months or longer. And so we've hired the data scientists so other companies, our customers, don't have to. Sort of built in, all the analysis is built in. So again, decision making is quick. Companies are stronger very, very soon after adoption. Alex, anything you wanted to add to that one?
No, I mean, I think that's good. I think the thing that I like to talk about the most is really kind of that iterative improvement, right? Like as the business landscape changes from month to month to month, I mean, it's important for modern organizations to be successful to have the tools to adjust as necessary. If you've got to, to Matt's point, like hire a data scientist, if you've got to hire an engineer, you're looking at a long time to course correct, to improve the way that your business does, business. So that's a huge value add, and we've seen lots and lots of organizations really own their workflow, own their process, and make improvements given the tools that we have. So,
good point.
Okay, very good, guys. And I think you might have touched a little bit on this, but the next question is, how long does it take to implement Cavallo products?
Good question. And this one, I'll go lighter touch before passing it over to Alex. He's a little bit closer to the details. But given our extremely tight integration with Business Central, very rapid, very rapid. And we have developed our products with that approach in mind and making the jump to Cavallo products pretty seamless. But Alex, you want to touch on any specifics?
Yeah, sure. So our applications are really kind of two components right now. One is a Business Central extension. One is kind of that web app experience. And so the web app experience is 100% handled by us. You just log in, you use your existing Microsoft account, and then the extension, it's a 15-minute install. So we could technically get somebody up in about 30 minutes, like sitting together. The challenge, or kind of the longer things are really defining your process. So when we think about, the way that you want to do business, we have a long conversation with you just to talk about, hey, how do you do business? Is that the way you want to do business? And then we curate a workflow, curate kind of a process with you so that you can, have a really good foundation for running your entire business. And then also protect it, right? Going back to those business rules and kind of the importance of those. Anybody could use our OMS package and launch business rules in about 30 minutes. And then you're immediately protecting yourself from funky margin issues. Now once we start to add kind of the steps and the routing of documents, it could take a little bit longer. So, if everybody's on board, we can get people up in, a week or less, really as we're starting to communicate, and potentially even a day if we have, we're all sitting together and know exactly what we want to do. So it's super exciting, super fast.
Cool, sounds good. Did you have anything more, Matt?
No, just curious. I was going to ask if there are any more questions or if we've addressed what came in.
Okay, well, that looks like it for right now. But please feel free to contact us at Novia or the team at Cavallo with any additional questions you may have. I want to thank Matt and Alex for presenting today, and thank everyone on today's webinar. If you're watching on demand, we thank you for taking the time to join us. And just a reminder, we have new training workshops for you and your team members to attend. Visit our training workshops page at inovia.com/workshops for more information and to register for the training workshop that fits your role. We also have webinars coming up. On June 22nd, we will have Data Haven presenting a webinar on when it comes to document management, AP automation is just the start. You can check out our website for more of our upcoming webinars and events, and that's at novia.com/events. And don't forget to check out our Novia Conversation podcast with hosts Steve Waltz and Jeff Brigolsky. You can find out all about all our different platforms to listen to them on our podcast page, and that's at novia.com/podcast. And while there, check out our podcast library and be sure to subscribe to receive notifications when new episodes air. Also, we have some upcoming conferences, including DynamicsCon Live this September in San Antonio, Texas. For more information about DynamicsCon Live and a list of all our upcoming conferences, head over to inovia.com/conferences. I want to thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at another Inovia webinar. Thank you, Matt and Alex.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Have a great day.